Weeks ago now.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna take place. Meet or anything.
Oh, yeah.
Stay off the.
Is it that in Boston?
No,
That's
no,
okay.
easy.
Oh, DC, Massachusetts.
Half of them, I don't know if I'm half of it. Recording in progress. Okay, let me go to the printer. I'll bring it over. Got it, I'm sending it to the printer right now, the resolution packet, so it'll take a while, because a little bit long.
Yeah, it's got a warm up.
Okay, good morning and welcome to the special organizational meeting of Ulysses Town Board. It is January 4th, 2024, and I will call this meeting to order at 8:33 a.m. May we please have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Boggs, Ms. Bouchard,
Present?
Ms. Olson,
Present?
Mr. Goldman,
Present.
Ms. Weatherby,
Present.
full court.
Wonderful. We had an agenda that was posted in December. I would like to make a request to add one item of new business. Our highway superintendent, actually, I should say, our highway superintendent / DPW commissioner, I believe is the right term, was able to fill a vacancy, and so I'd like to add the establishment of a pay rate as item in business. Does anybody else have any additions or alterations to the agenda otherwise?
Under the same area, I just want to make sure that. We discuss that, I don't hope it was a typo. Just so I don't. Get where are the pay rates? Got a flag here somewhere. There's a Jeopardy song for me. We'll carry on in the middle. Yeah, we just carry on.
Okay, if
Thank
you,
you.
if you find it, I would have Michelle go look at it until we get.
Page 6? Is that what you're looking at?
This
Oh. Yeah. 146.
That does seem like it might be slightly higher than we would typically pay. Otherwise, I would prefer that.
So I've got my application. in
I know. Well, we're gonna know competition. I'll let
Is
Michelle-
that the total line in the budget? Is that what that is? Because it's a
I don't-
hourly rate.
Oh, that's everybody.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's the 2024 budgeted appropriation.
Okay.
Right.
So that's not.
That's not an individual.
Of everyone in that.
Yeah, that's a line.
All right. All right, everybody.
No.
Yeah.
I know, exactly. Well, Bob and or Michael and I are already in line. Okay, so we have an agenda. Is there a motion to approve the addition of new business?
Move to approve as
Second?
presented with the addition.
Excellent. Any further comment? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Move to privilege of the floor. Looks like there is nobody online. And no members of the public.
So Roxanne had submitted some
Yeah.
Right.
info that she wanted read it as her privilege of the floor since she.
Oh, she wants it read? I
Was
didn't catch that
was
part.
that the case or wanted to put it out there?
I don't recall if she said that specifically, but,
It'll be, it can be included in the
Okay,
record.
all right.
We can discuss any, that's when we get to that point, we're not there.
All right.
Okay, so, the, moving on, resolutions 2 through 6, relate to the highway department. The first one is the highway shared service agreement. The second one is authorization of spending of highway funds. Were there any questions?
You guys saw the 284, right?
Right here,
Yeah, but then- that compare to this year or 23 this year.
What's that?
Is it compared to it? I mean, is your,
Oh,
you increase it a little or is it pretty much the same? or-
well, I'm not sure because CHIPS doesn't let you know how much you get
Right.
until April, which it's kind of weird, but and then we'll probably have to come back and
Amended.
yeah, like we did every year, so hopefully, usually we're getting more money every year, so hopefully it stays that way. So,
if they don't do it, it's in the budget, is it in the state budget, so they
yeah,
stop?
not till like April.
Yeah.
Last year it was because they didn't pass it.
Took them a while to pass the budget last year.
Yeah, which makes it difficult.
For the 3 roads listed, are those the entire road
Yeah,
that you're gonna? Okay.
and that could all change after winter.
Which Frontenac North is that?
Or
Where
the
is
full
Brent?
length,
What's
What?
that?
is it the full length?
The front,
Yeah, so it'll go from Seneca Road all the way to the village line, which is down by Cemetery Bridge.
Oh,
Hey, exciting news, we got the money from Cemetery Bridge.
no, we
Oh,
didn't.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah,
3 years later.
exactly. No interest chart, no interest payment. It
$1.50 or something. What's it?
was less than $1.
Yeah.
Right,
was less than $1.
right. Is that-
I offered to send the money, was
Right.
not, I'm like, can I send you
So
the
we're
money?
not doing that,
So,
No.
was not met
why
with.
is it in there?
Okay.
because Frontenac. Son Seneca to Cemetery
Right,
extends, we're
Oh,
just doing
right,
that
right,
portion,
right,
just
right,
not the
right.
portion down to 89,
right.
that's in.
That's in Cobra.
That's-
Right.
that's-
Yep. Okay, any other questions about these two? If so, we can move 2 and 3. Resolutions 2 and 3.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Aye. And then, resolution 4 is sole source repair vendors for highway equipment. This was, included, we had many discussions with, the town attorney, over the last 2 years. And, it makes it a lot simpler to have sole source vendors indicated right out of the start, for highway equipment in particular. Because the machines are so specialized and we have so few vendors in the area who handle it. The attorney was very comfortable with, we've done our due diligence to demonstrate these are the only people who can do the work that we need on our specialized vehicles. So they fulfill procurement requirements. And then, highway, town highway department hours of operation. Same schedule as last year, and
Yeah.
the year before that, right?
Yeah.
Do we need to change the GPW?
Probably, yes, we should.
We can do that later. in the meeting.
Yeah, the DPW, right?
Oh.
We're DPW now.
So you gotta figure it out.
Yeah, no, I don't mind approving
That's a
it,
great catch, Liz. Thank you.
pending that that's
You know, how many
coming.
people have looked at this stupid, this wonderful document.
Subsidized the schedule.
Is it just the name or the hours you're talking?
Just the name,
Oh, just the name.
just the
Okay.
name.
Yeah. So we will alter that. It's interesting because what will be, it's for, we changed the name of the department.
Mhm.
But highway still exists as a thing, right?
Yeah.
And so but we will change the name.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't thinking some of the other places, I wasn't gonna call it out, but that one.
I think you're absolutely right. For resolution 5, we should, DPW hours of operation. So we will amend that. So with that, amendment, does the board feel comfortable with, passing resolutions 4 and 5, their motion?
Yes, motion.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. And then, vehicle, benefit continues. This is the, continuation from last year. And previous years.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So Scott, we are pulling together the resolution. Michelle's pulling it together right now for me for the new business for appointing your new employee. Is there anything? So we'll do that probably towards the end of the meeting.
That's fine. I'll stay, it's fine.
Okay. If we can get it done sooner than that, then
Okay.
we'll try. Okay, resolution, 7 and 8. 7 is dates of meetings, continue on the second and fourth Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And for media resolved, that, the, Ithaca Journal remains our newspaper of record. That's the official newspaper of the town of Ulysses.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 9 is meetings, minutes and other meeting record. Draft minutes, will be produced, by the town clerk within 14 days of the meeting. Digital versions are designated as official minutes and we're, keep everything as much as we can online, video records and things like that, and otherwise in accordance with New York State open meetings law. Is there a motion on that? Or do you have any
So moved.
questions?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 10 is mileage. It establishes the rate of 67 miles or 67 miles, 67 cents per mile. This is the 2024 IRS standard. So that would be the rate.
Some,
Jude,
Second.
yeah, go ahead and second. I get a question after this.
Sure.
Aye.
Oh. That was your question?
Well, you go ahead and pass it. I just have a
Well,
question.
I have a question.
Okay, well then this is a good time for questions.
So in in resolution 2024-6, we're authorizing the highway superintendent to use the town vehicle, but it says mileage should be recorded and submitted. But he's not getting reimbursed for that because it's a town
It's-
vehicle.
no, It's the
Right.
odometer on the truck.
Yeah, but it's a little confusing.
This is for personal, this one specifies, 10 specifies, this is used of their personal vehicles. So Scott doesn't use his personal vehicle
Right.
for highway stuff,
But
but
then why is mileage being recorded?
because other people do. Like if I send Michelle in to go to the attorney's office and we don't have a town vehicle,
Right?
she gets to submit her mileage. for
No,
that.
that's fine.
No, I take that as like. It's mostly Scott, because he's got all the vehicles that he records his odometer mileage on all the vehicles, and I think he submits it
Yeah, that's correct.
to Carissa, yeah.
So this is just use
That's
of
what
personal
6 is,
vehicles.
yes. 10 is definitely just,
10 is different. That's if you're using your own
Right,
to go to a conference or something. It's just odometer
Yeah.
recording.
okay,
He's not getting paid for it.
right, I mean, yeah,
I'm just gonna add to that title mileage for personal vehicle use
yeah.
or.
Mhm.
Yeah, he doesn't have to record it if he goes to the Sure Save or something. I mean, that would be kind of.
Oh, I mean, no,
That's 2 miles.
no.
Yeah, I'm just
Well,
like,
that,
well,
Right now,
Scott's,
it's just
Scott's,
annual.
right,
yeah,
Oops, sorry about that.
yeah, for Scott's town vehicle. The mileage is just recorded on an annual basis and it's whatever it was. But if Scott goes to a conference and drives to the airport,
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's not, you don't do that, but I'm using that as an
Right.
example. Then that would be town
Yeah.
business on his personal vehicle. I don't believe, have you ever turned in a mileage?
I don't think I have, no, but
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody else has, but.
I know staff have needed to in different iterations. We don't always have a town vehicle available for town use, so. It's not factoring it as a high cost. Okay, so we get a motion and a second. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor?
I,
Aye. 11 refers to petty cash. I'm sorry, yeah, you have another question?
Did you want to like bulk these up by a couple of pages unless anybody has any?
I'd be happy to do that. I just don't want to rush
Yeah,
anybody
it
who,
just, it might be easier for Carissa to do a resolution for.
I'm perfectly happy to do that.
You guys okay with that?
that's
whole
fine by
thing.
me.
I mean, if you got any questions on it, then we can go down to whatever one we have questions on.
About one by page, do it. So we could do 11, 12, 13, and 14, if you want to read through those. Do you have any questions? Those would be petty cash.
Yeah, my only question is on 14 is what quarters? Is it a calendar quarter? So would that be like?
Yeah.
April 1, July 1, whatever that is.
Yeah, Michelle, is that correct? For the financial reconciliations?
Yeah, I mean, I think
You do it
you do
monthly.
it monthly.
We do it monthly.
Yeah.
I do the bookkeeping monthly, she does mine quarterly, because hers are more complicated.
Okay. That's all. Right. Move to
And
approve-
Lucy does provide a quarterly financial review that's more in depth than her usual monthly.
No, this is the,
Right, and I
this
don't
is the
know
clerk and
how
the
it's,
supervisor though.
yeah.
I think you guys are
um,
reviewing each other's or
yeah.
something, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a process for reporting that. Chris, do you know?
What's the question?
The financial reconciliations across, between you and Lixie? Is
We
there-
just.
I do it
there's a
monthly.
A sheet that we sign off on.
Okay, but we don't report to the board. We should, it seems like this is saying that we need to submit it to the board.
Yeah, we could
Just email
include
it.
it in a monthly report.
Yep.
Or
Or
just say you did it, right? It's good enough.
Well, I mean, it'd be very easy to include in the monthly report, because I've already signed off for December's. So it could go in, that could go in January's packet as part of the month. Can we just do that as a report?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. That's no problem.
Yeah.
It's already happening.
Yeah, I figured it was. I was just,
Oh, no, it's always good to,
It might already be, Lixie already might have it in her monthly report. I can't remember that.
that particular paperwork is not being circulated to the best of my knowledge. My guess is, I believe the information shows, it shows up in a different format within the monthly financials, but piecing those out
Right,
is, it might just be helpful to, the board wants to see that, and there's no reason why we wouldn't share that with the board in public. It's certainly financials we're already sharing in different forms, but that makes it more accessible. Yeah, we can do that. That's no problem.
okay, move
We,
as presented for 11 through 15.
yep,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so 16 rule card, just a little bit of conversation. I'm pleased to let you know that Lixie and Michelle were able to talk Sarah into doing their annual audit within 60 days. It did not look like it originally, but and that is a typo in there, I just saw. So it's a 2024 February 19th.
No,
So apologies for that. We do need to schedule the court audit. So we'll need 2 people to be willing to do the court audit. I think Michael and Liz, you did it last year. Took you about an hour, maybe.
I think so.
Is there?
Pretty organized.
Wants to do it again?
I don't mind doing it again, just to reiterate what
Yeah.
I learned
Good,
last year.
great, thank you.
Good.
I
Got an infection.
got enough.
Let me go grab Andy quickly. We'll get the date scheduled.
Oh, boy.
And on that, Chris, I still need to schedule something with you.
Yeah. we can, I'll schedule something for February.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know January's busy for you.
So,
What works for
this
you?
question may be for Michelle. In 18, just verbiage in the last resolve. It says due to slowdowns in the United States Postal Service. I didn't.
we can just take that out. I think we should still send that.
Oh, yeah, I was just wondering if I was trying to say something.
well, if it's sent by certified mail, it's not gonna go any faster
not.
than regular mail. So I'm
You can
not sure
just
why
track it.
that's in there.
Yes, you can definitely track it and you get proof of receipt, but
Still, we could
it
just
still
take it
goes
out.
by USPS.
Yeah, we can just say for security.
Mhm.
checks
Yeah.
over 50,000. We can
Yeah.
take out and do 2 slowdowns.
What number are you talking about?
18.
18 last resolved.
Take out after security. Take out and do slowdowns. To the postal service. So it turns into. For security, checks over 15,000 will be sent to the certified mail.
Okay, hey, Angie's here. Welcome. Good morning, Angie. Welcome to the annual meeting. Michael and Liz are going to do the audit this year, and we're just trying to find a date that works for all 3 of you.
I can make just about anything work.
We got court on Tuesdays, right? Tuesday
Yeah,
mornings, so
so
probably not that.
if you stay away from Tuesday mornings. Unless it's after 10:30.
Do you need a computer?
I've got mine in here, but I don't think I'll be able to toggle back and forth.
Yeah.
We have to start. the grade.
I'm,
We have to do the bills.
I'm assuming you want to do it sooner versus later. Or sometime in January.
January's fine with me.
I think we need to do it in January.
Yeah,
Is that right?
I think we did that
Or
last,
you want,
and I can be here as early as 8.
Before the 20th.
So Mondays
what
or
it says.
Wednesdays,
Download.
Fridays look like it's best for me. I've got a meeting on Tuesday mornings. General, Tuesday.
Mary, did you say before the 20th of
Well,
January?
that's what it
That's
says,
what it
whereas
says
town
here.
law section 123 requires that honor before the 20th day of January. An
Okay.
audit is performed for each town department. Or prior to the 20th day of January, the town may schedule an annual audit.
With
Oh, that's for the
certified
CPA.
public, yeah,
So
so,
it should happen before the January 20th. Is how I interpret it.
okay, so Tuesdays are out. What did you say for works for you?
Like. Monday, Wednesday or Friday, I think a Thursday could work too. But probably Monday or Friday, I think it's probably best, if we're doing it at 8 o'clock.
Want to do Monday, the 8th, at 8?
You don't usually come until 1 on Mondays.
Oh, no, that's fine, we don't want you to come in early.
We have night court.
Oh, that's
Monday
true.
nights.
I can't do next Wednesday. I could do next Friday.
Well,
Works for me.
Alright,
At what time?
8 AM works for both of you?
8 AM. Are you good, Michael?
yes, thank you.
All right, January 12th, 8 AM.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Angie. Okay, so. Is there a motion to approve resolutions 16, 17, and 18?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so 19 was establishment of pay period. 20 is pay rates. Michael, did you feel like your questions were answered on that?
Yes, thank
Does
you.
anybody have any other questions on that?
Just. How soon are we gonna run into that extra pay period again? Because it's at the end of this year, it ends on the 21st. I didn't count ahead to 25.
Yeah, it doesn't-
429, the extra.
I think it's every like 7 years. or
Yeah,
something
something like
Oh.
Lucy counts. I asked her to check it every year. For the meeting. Yeah, for the budget, actually, when she really checked it.
So I think it's not this year that's triggering it.
Yeah. So just wanted to throw out there if we ever wanted to consider. A twice a month pay period, remember that was, I can't remember why that was an issue,
It was an issue for,
something, I don't know if the bargaining unit or something.
Yeah, I don't remember what.
Yeah, so I just wanted to throw it out there. a little bit there.
yeah, we can, I'm happy to go back on that one. I know there was an issue with the bargaining unit and then, but we're now in our final year of our union contract, so that could be a conversation but there was another reason.
Yeah.
I recall that had to do with the processing and I'm not, I can,
Yeah.
we can circle back, Michelle and I can circle back with Lexi. I know there was the rationale, I can't remember at this
I
time.
thought it'd be easier to talk about, because I remember last time it snuck up on us and we were
Right.
really reactive, so.
So we fixed this MEO operator salary.
No, it's not, there's nothing wrong with it. That's the total budgeted. If you like, the heading is at 2024 budgeted appropriation for all those
That's
positions.
everybody in that department.
Yeah.
So it's not just one position.
Is that 4 of them? Or
Oh, okay.
is
Is
it?
that the only one
No,
that's
it's gotta
that
be
way?
3 of them.
Is
It
that the
kind of
only
looks
one where
that
it's
way. It's the
multiple?
only,
I think you want,
It would be 3 of them. wouldn't it?
There, we don't have anybody else that's in
Kind
the
of a
same job title though. So we don't have 2 planners, we don't have 2.
right, but what I'm saying is,
we have 4 council persons.
right, which we did individually, so. It's not consistent.
Do they all make the same?
I think the 3 of them, right?
We did
Because the
individual,
deputy-
we should be consistent and do it individually.
Yeah,
Because we didn't coordinate the council person. We didn't agree.
or the justices.
Right, so I think.
They make the same.
We need to correct that.
So you just want to break it out for the 4 operators that we have,
Well,
That
every-
looks like it'd be three
Everything,
operators.
everything else. is
or the
broken
3
out,
operators we could.
Right, am I wrong? Everything else is broken out.
Could we just specify how many MEOs the number is for?
Yeah,
They
there's
don't all make the
There's
same amount.
They don't all make the
MEOs.
same amount, so we can't.
146, I feel agree. Oh, really? It wouldn't be the deputy.
Well,
Deputy specified.
you're creating an hourly wage per union contract based on this total. Rather than if they're all different, then that should be itemized. Right?
How many people, Scott?
3 for MEOs.
So
Do they make the same, Scott, or are they different salaries? Different hourlies?
We budget for the same,
Yeah,
but if they're on probation, they're making less.
right.
Right, so
So-
that says, I think it's not clear.
Yeah, because probation is like a year now, so.
Right.
It's a whole dollar less.
So we could put after that number, you would put parentheses, 3 positions.
Right.
And then for the council person, say per each of 4 positions.
I don't know why we just don't itemize the 3 MEO.
You
Because
just
the
go
salaries are different.
MEO times 3. or
So,
or
but,
48.
so the rationale for that is because there's not always been a full position. So when we had a previous water operator. It was not a sole, he had a part-time, he had a half-time position, or it was different than half-time. It wasn't even a half-time, it was a, I can't remember the breakout, but it was not a full position. So basically, this is the amount of money we say Scott gets to spend in this position. And in the future, it could be, we could have someone doing 30 hours in one line and 15 in another. So this is him, we're allowing some flexibility on that because it has been a more flexible line previously. Because when we had a water operator as a specified position, it was a joint water operator and MEO position. So it was not a single full-time position. And we might need that flexibility in the future, and we might need it again this year.
Yeah.
We're not anticipating that, but that doesn't mean it might not happen. Basically, we're telling the highway superintendent / DPW commissioner that this is how much you get to spend for.
Yeah, that's right, because if you do 26 times, 25 times 3. Minus the 18,000 for the water, it matches up to 140,000.
How about we change council person to do a calculation of the 4 of those positions? And put that as the total budget appropriated line, and then in the hourly rate. Part, say. 2,425 per person, comma, flat rate per year. Does that help clarify?
We put in the 2,425.
In the hourly rate, put it in that column to say as a flat rate per council member. And then have the total of whatever 5425 times 4 is.
21,700.
Then that would be the appropriated line, the budget appropriation for council persons.
Yeah, you still got the problem with, by approving this, we're approving 26. For each MEO. There's no exception there for being on probation.
That's in the union contract though,
Yeah, but
but
it's still not clear. We're paying somebody less than the 2625.
right, and we do that by individual resolution. So when we appoint our newest employee later today, or establish the pay rate for our newest highway employee later today, it will include the pay rate and the probationary period. But we have to budget for someone, what frequently ends up happening is probation lasts for an entire year, but historically. That probationary period has been terminated
Right.
early.
Right,
And so we will be paying, the expectation has to be 6 months from now, it's highly likely.
right.
We would be paying that individual at the full 26. The full, whatever the. full
26,
rate is.
25.
Thank you.
Right.
So we budget for a full-time, not probationary employee. But that doesn't mean we actually pay that person. It's just budgeted for that. So there'll end up being a little bit of cost savings in that line. It doesn't change how much that individual is actually making because every time we hire somebody, we establish their
Right, I
pay rate.
understand. You're gonna put in there something like that, this is for 3 positions?
Yes.
Hmm. Okay,
With those modifications, Chris, does that? So can you put it was estimated for 3 positions, because I don't want to lock us in that we're only
Yeah.
allowed to have 3
Estimated.
positions when we may need 4, the budget estimates for 3 full-time positions. Got it. Or the appropriation lines for 3, estimated at 3. Something to that effect, so if we end up with 4, nobody comes back and says something otherwise. Okay, any other questions, on, resolutions 19 and 20? Good information, thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve those 2 resolutions?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any other further questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. 21 is related to time records and when time cards are turned in. And in that it also specifies hours, weekly hours. For these different positions. Any questions about that?
You still tally those up by hand?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You guys should look into a smart time clock.
we did it at one time, and I can look back into it.
See if it's saved time.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 22 is insurance. I'm gonna leave that, if, does anybody have, it's kind of different from the ones that are coming after it, so I'm like, anybody have any questions about that? Okay, is
So
there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The cell phone reimbursement, it's the same, as last year. We've looked into, we've done a fair amount of due diligence and looking to see what's more affordable for the town, and it's generally more affordable for the town to continue to pay $40 per month for the positions, that, are very cell phone reliant. And staff are not super interested in carrying a second phone. And when you calculate the costs of maintaining that equipment and buying the equipment, it's so much easier from a bookkeeping and efficiency standpoint to continue this way. So is there a motion? Any questions on that?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So this is, you'll see a lot of similarities on appointments and liaison, so please take a moment to go through those.
I'd be happy to forego my liaisonship for these 2 boards,
For which ones? Which 2? Is
for planning board and board of BZA.
there
If
anybody?
anyone wants to replace me.
I turn to that one too. Understand.
It's not 9 years already, or 10.
A long time. I was on the BZA, I did the BZA for a while.
Also. Michael comes to all the meetings pretty much. But
Yeah.
but the BZA is Mary, you're still the alternate,
I'm the alternate.
and Michael's the,
You could, I mean, there's also, you could share the attendance, you don't have to. Even if you're the lead, you don't have to, you can always tap in a friend.
yeah, but I find it's really for consistency important to be there, because if you miss a BZA meeting and there are things that come up that you really want the continuity of the
Yeah, you
liaison.
lose a lot if you miss one.
Yeah. All right, well,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to swap. You could be the alternate.
yeah, I'll be the alternate. And planning board, you mean?
Or you got a lot of meetings.
I have a lot of committees, yeah. Well, I mean, the village, it's like a 2-hour meeting every month.
Right. Michael be the planning board liaison, I'll be the alternate, we'll keep the BZA as it is then. All right, Mary?
Sure. Yeah, I'll be the alternate for the BPA. And I noticed on the tree advisory committee and youth committee member,
What number is that? I'm sorry.
that's R. I didn't know I was on the tree committee. I mean, I've never been to a meeting. So I don't know, I don't think I'm the chair of that.
Okay, well then we'll just strike the tree advisory committee.
Do we need a
We need a liaison.
liaison for that one?
I feel like they're doing a really good job.
Well, I could get in touch with Andy Hillman. I'm not sure who the chair of that is.
I'm not sure.
You
either.
know?
Andy,
Andy?
yeah.
And, find out when they have meetings and. Attend when I can.
Well, maybe if even if just liaison with them, just even if you can't attend a meeting, just to check in to see. Periodically checking in to see how.
Well, he's on the CSAC committee, so
Right.
he usually talks about what they're doing there,
Okay,
so,
you could kill,
yeah.
no bird killing.
I was gonna say,
Just
I
like,
don't know if
well,
I'd say that yet, when we're talking about trees and bees.
I know, exactly.
So you're gonna be the tree advisory committee liaison.
Liaison, yeah.
I'm gonna make that. Yes.
And move everything else
Yeah.
down.
Sounds good. And then Rich, I know we talked about this, I believe like 9 months ago, are you were okay with Liz coming in as the health consortium rep and just serving as the alternate, because I know that's got,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
We touch base on meetings and any info you can provide.
I think they've really consolidated power, right? into their
Yeah, it
executive.
used to be, everyone had a vote on everything. Now it's in the hands of an executive committee, so
Of which we are not on,
we were not on, so.
so Roy's chairing that right now.
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
there's a lot less meetings you have to go to.
Okay.
And you can do it by Zoom. We used to meet in TC3,
Really?
yeah.
Wow,
Oh,
you went all the
wow.
way over there.
Oh.
Vote on it. That sounds terrible. I mean, that sounds delightfully wonderful.
Just told her that.
I was gonna say, this year.
So we're now in the Zoom era, so we don't have to go there.
How
That's helpful.
about for voucher review, does January through June still work for Rich and Mary?
Yeah, that's okay.
And July through December for Michael and Liz?
So where are you?
This
Yes.
is the
Yes.
old F,
Oh, this.
yeah.
Did we do the planning board appeals appointments yet?
Yeah, so,
Well,
this is just us, so I think, so Michael is gonna become the lead on planning board and you're the alternate?
Yeah.
It was an unusually busy year on the BZA.
Yeah.
The year before that, I think there were like only a couple of meetings.
Yeah, didn't he was gonna schedule a meeting and then canceled it.
yeah, the next one is canceled.
Yeah.
But on the, what page are you
9
on?
9 and 10.
No.
These are all just town board member appointments.
Mm.
essentially. So any other questions, concerns?
Yep.
Okay, then is there a motion to approve? There's a motion.
24, right?
I'm sorry, what? Yes, just 24.
Okay, yeah, so
Yeah.
moved with some changes as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So appointment of non-town board members. Two different positions.
Why is K TBD? So we're not,
That's a position we have not been able to fill for a couple of years now.
Okay.
So it's a position we've looked for. It would be one I would love to see. Typically, it's someone from the youth commission serves on it. It makes sense to have that person be connected to the youth commission, and I've not been able to. Over the years, we've not been able to find somebody from the youth commission willing to do another meeting on top of that.
maybe we can talk.
Yes.
Okay, so moved.
Let's just make sure you see there's a second page. A new addition to this list is the Jacksonville Community Association. They reached out to request somebody to have a liaison. And I said, at that point, this happened mid-year, and I said, I thought that the board was stretched in terms of another monthly meeting. And because Nancy is very actively involved and obviously is very, very comfortable and capable of reaching out to us. I was actually asked to serve, and I'm like, I can't do another board.
They used to have regular meetings, I think, before COVID, and then they fall apart. Do they?
They're back to having regular, I think they're having every couple of months at this point. They had their first annual meeting, which I know you were at.
Yeah.
Since COVID, but I understand Nancy's probably gonna be emerging as the chair of the new,
Yeah, that's fine.
so I felt that she and I
Yeah.
can pass on information.
Yeah.
In contact.
Yeah.
And for we haven't approved Molly yet. I know her application's in. Is that coming on Tuesday?
So I received her application.
Oh, you did receive it?
And I reviewed it and came right before break, that's why before the holiday break. Molly Kraus, is, I think Rich knows her, everybody else knows Molly.
I know, Mom.
She has 3 kids.
Yep.
Her children, her eldest has been active in in some of our youth services programming. And they participate in our recreation programs as well. And so we've had a vacancy for the whole year, and she reached out with interest in that position when we advertised it. So I couldn't see any reason why.
Which position are we talking about?
Youth
youth
Commission
commission.
Town Representative.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been vacant for a
Right.
year, so. Thought it was a good spot for her.
Yeah, so I think she'd be a good addition.
Appreciated that she was willing to do that.
For Cyber and IT, Linda Little, her last name is LIDD.
I got that. Oh, thank you, Michelle, or thank you, not Michelle, Bertha, thank you. You're right, it is. I do that. I'm sorry, that's me. That was my fault. Okay,
We don't have the comp plan steering chair on this. Do we need to designate?
so
Yeah.
that has been. That I
that
have
somewhere
her
else?
listed in the,
There's another
there's
section.
another
Oh.
section that she's in, and because that was an appointment through the duration of the project.
Right,
And not just for 2024.
okay.
So because of that, that's why. It screws with the captions, right?
Okay.
That's the only reason. Okay, any other questions on that? Section?
No.
There a motion to approve resolution 2025,
So moved.
second,
Second?
all those in favor?
All
Aye.
right.
We don't have any new, so the next one is planning board and board of zoning appeals appointments. Nobody new has been added.
Well, why is Molly's name in here under board members? Because she's not a board member.
Doesn't she just record the?
Yeah. so
minutes?
She does
shouldn't
just
be-
record.
So she shouldn't be on there as as
I'm
a-
gonna specify that she's the clerk.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank
in
you.
both cases. And also Carl Klonkowski is the first alternate, so that should be noted. We just so we're looking for alternates for the BZA because the current. Because the alternate is I'm not gonna do next year, so we have no alternates right now for the BZA. If you know anyone who might want to participate.
There's, I believe this week, Carissa can correct me, I believe it's Neil's intention to have, I mean, it's in our newsletter frequently about openings we have. But it's our intention to push that out further because we have one planning board alternate position open in 2 BZA,
Right.
so. With those corrections, does anybody have any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
With someone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So this is new this year, number 27, it's the adoption of the policy on fund balance and reserve funds. That was circulated and posted online. It's gone through the finance committee, it's gone through the town attorney. Did anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions on that, but, so I've asked a few times, the finance committee minutes should be posted or should be submitted to us. I haven't seen any minutes produced from that.
They were in the last, I believe they were in the last board packet, they're in the reports.
Yeah, I didn't see any, because it's, when I read Alexi's, it always says it's gonna be at the end of hers, but I never see any. So this one is, to me, it should be in one of our regular board meetings, so that it's like more public. And then I was curious about it, because it looks like that they're all. There's a separate document in here for that, right?
Well, it says attachment A, right?
Yeah,
The policy was provided as,
Yeah.
I didn't print it out.
Exhibit A.
yeah, so so it says, town's finance committee will develop a recommendation on disposition of these funds. I think that was written because we've got a surplus now, so if it goes below. It should say, we're gonna build it back up or something. And then. I had a question, because there's definitions in there, but it talks about unappropriated fund balance. And so on the bottom it says, UAFB. But there's no definition of it up here in like A through D. We've got unassigned fund balances. So as you're trying to refer back to this.
So you're looking for a definition of
Yeah, there's-
UAFB, well, it's in there is a definition in the header. So other than target range, UAFB is labeled there.
It's labeled, but there isn't anything. There's A, there's B. C and then D. It doesn't talk about unappropriated fund balance.
So everything in black was the policy adopted in 2020.
Right.
And so everything in red would be what's being recommended for inclusion. So would you like to see just have create an E that defines UAFB, is that
Yeah, I think that should be the.
okay? Michelle, is that
Um,
eminently doable?
yeah, and we could have this at the second meeting in January, if we wanna pull it now.
Yeah, because I'd like to see what those numbers are. Because you've chosen, for the most part, 20 to 25%.
Right.
I don't know what they are.
So you'd like to see what those, if applied to our current
Yeah. like,
budget, what
see
that
how
looks
far.
like. Okay,
Out we are.
Well, and we won't have those
Do you
until
have-
the year is closed, really.
I was gonna say, are you gonna have those numbers by the second meeting in January?
They, they would be last year's AUD, right? They don't change that much.
They do.
No.
Yeah, you can get last year's for this.
I mean, you guys have to feel for where we are.
Yeah.
so
I feel for where we are in terms of,
The
The fund balance?
unappropriated fund balance.
yeah, it's a
Well-
lot.
I know it's not. I mean, is it 25% or is it?
it was in
50%?
excess of that. It ranges what from about 25 to 56 is one of them, was the last look I saw.
Yeah, we had a lot of extra money come in from interest income from the bank and then sales.
Right.
You know, so. and
So
then
if
we had a
this is our
surprise.
target, then I would like to see what, what is our, are we gonna try to draw it down?
I think the plan
5%
is,
a year,
Yeah, I think
10% a
the
year,
plan is
plan
if
and
we're
the
way
budget.
over, we're gonna draw it down.
but that would be tough to budget. The drawdown, you really gotta think about the drawdown. You don't wanna do it in 1 year and then have a big, a wild swing.
Well, I think we budget conservatively enough that. We don't have big. Deficits, in our budget. We haven't
Right.
had them for a while. Well, I mean. At all, to my knowledge.
But we were using the old model of having a lot of extra fund balance because we budgeted low for revenue and high for expenses,
Yeah.
which we're changing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Michelle, you have some color on this?
Well, I
No.
think, just to remind the board, this was the 2024 budget season was the first season that we tracked more closely what exactly we're using fund balance for. And we were tracking, what your concern is that, no, we're not gonna just spend it all on operations in a single year to draw it down. That's not gonna be how we do it. We're gonna target single one time or, once every 5-10 year expenses for fund balance use. So we're gonna, that's what we've been doing, at least in the 2024 budget.
So my recommendation is I'm happy to pull this and look at it in live time essentially with our budget numbers. I think it makes sense to let your closeout to do that. So because I think 2023 is the most appropriate year to look at. And so let's close out 2023 and say, look at this in February. How does that sound?
Well,
I'll add it to the drives.
Sounds good. Yeah. Say this, the second meeting in February. Although actually, we need to talk about that because we might not have a second meeting in February depending on people's travel schedules. So,
Alright, well, I'll add it to the first meeting.
yeah. Do you think we'll be closed out by then?
Yeah, we should be.
I mean, if we have to move it to March, I think it's fine
Okay.
because either way, it's not like we'd be spending down this money in the anyway, so. So I'd like to have it closed out before we do that, because I think that would be most useful. Okay, so we're gonna not take any action on that one on 27 and move on to 28. There has, though, in 28, the yellow box, there is no update on that one, so there's no alterations that need to happen on the fund balance and reserve policy, because we've made no updates to it. Yeah, there are no proposed updates to any of the other policies this year either, so. Any questions on that? Then I accept a motion to approve resolution 28.
mhm.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 29 is a policy we adopted mid-year. Last year and are codifying in our org document. For the first time, in the org document, and it's our title 6. Compliance plan and non-discrimination policy. After this year, it'll be added to the policies. the chart, part of the reason that this one was included now is because the organizational meeting is really when the policy should be adopted and altered. And this language has never been included in an organizational meeting packet. So getting it codified in this document and then moving forward, we can just add it to the list, the column. And this also appoints Lexi as our Title VI coordinator through the end of the year.
Is this another one we would? Going back to 28, we would read when we start. Remember passing it, I don't remember exactly what you said though. That was all we made.
So this, yeah, we passed this one back in, I want to say June or July.
Right, but going back to these policies that we read. So when I'm either elected or start my job, we've got these listed that we've been read them or note that we've looked at them. Is Title VI another one of those? We would do.
It's in, when we move forward, I mean, I think that makes sense to do. I think that it's actually covered under mandatory annual training.
Okay.
It is called out there, but I mean, I would have no problem. Let's do a resolve. Let's add a resolved. So we don't have to go back and modify 28 because we already passed it.
Yeah, I don't want
For 29, let's modify and further resolved that new employees and elected and appointed officials will affirm reading they'll sign off that they've read and understand the policy. How about that? That's using the same language as the other one. Krista, does that work for you?
You're adding that to 29.
Yeah, 29, we'll just do a further resolve. And then that. And just we can pull this language from 28, all employees and elected.
Okay.
Within, I think it's within 60, what is it? How many days?
1 month.
Within 1 month of employment or appointment.
Do we have to do these again? I mean, can't, because we're,
Oh,
no, I know we have to do that, but like, do we have to sign off on these policies again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do we do notes every year?
No, but we were just elected.
Oh, right.
This is a new term. Okay, I think that's a good catch. Thank you, Michael. Any other alterations? Is there a motion to approve resolution 29?
So
Second,
Second.
all those in favor? Aye. Okay. Mandatory annual training. This is the one that Roxanne sent comments in about. Let's see,
Was this changed? That's one thing, she wanted the members of the CPSC to be separately identified as.
so this has not been changed since she sent in her comments. I did make a couple of tweaks to a couple parts of the document of the whole packet yesterday, but nothing sizable. I thought that they were already called out. So I'm not,
Well, I'm wondering if you move the parentheses to include it to, so that it just covered including elected and appointed public officers, close parentheses, and members of the CPSC.
oh, sure, that's fine.
And that identifies them as not employees, but members
Yeah.
of the specific committee.
I think that would be fine.
Yeah. So that takes care of that.
So one concern that was expressed was not having to take the remote training options. I would like to preserve remote training options, and here's why. Is that under the current policy, the town board and staff are all gonna have an in-person day of training that people can attend. The BZA is gonna have their own in-person day of training they can attend. Planning board's gonna have their own in-person day of training that they can attend. And anyone can attend anybody else's training, except for employees, like the employees need to do the employee training, but everybody else, like if you can't come to the town board one, go to the BZA one, go to the planning board one. I feel like 3 in-person training days, if you can't make one of those, having a remote option as a backup, or if someone joins after the fact, continues to make sense. From a practical standpoint, it doesn't, I don't think with that many in-person training options, including one of Roxanne's concerns was during business hours, not being during business hours. I can't imagine the planning board or BZA are gonna host theirs during business hour, like workday hours. They're gonna have an evening one. So my sentiment is if we are offering 3 separate training opportunities and you can't make any of those, it still makes sense to have remote training. Additionally, someone might come in October, right?
What's the argument for not having?
Well, she doesn't like the online ones.
Right.
And while I do appreciate she doesn't like the online ones, it doesn't mean that from an administrative standpoint, it's really helpful for us to be able to administer, to just assign those courses to somebody who can't otherwise make any of the other options. It's a very efficient management way. So I'm trying to balance providing a variety of options, as we discussed with the BZA, plus not requiring Blixie to set up a screen with a video for each individual person who needs to go through the training. It's a lot easier to send, if you can't do one of these 3 dates, here's a video you can watch. And a link to, and it goes through our insurance carrier, and she gets automatically notified. I get automatically notified if someone completes it. It requires less user interface from a management standpoint. So we're gonna be putting a fair amount to run 3 training sessions, and I'm totally happy to do it. I think it's a great use of time or of resources. There will be time consideration of organizing all 3 of those sessions. So if we can simplify the remote side, I think there's benefit to the town. So that's really why I made the recommendation that I did in the manual, in the mandatory training part.
When this says who must participate on committees, on the code of ethics, the workplace, does that include, is it the B committee in
No,
there?
no.
But why does it say committees,
I'm sorry, which one are you in?
The table at the bottom of the page.
starting at the code of ethics?
Oh, yeah, so people do have to, people, when you volunteer, right? Michelle, do you have people sign off on code of ethics as a regular volunteer or no? If they're appointed if we appoint somebody to
The tree committee.
the tree
Right.
committee.
I'm not sure, it kind of, I need clarification on that. It's kind of tied in with who takes the oath of office, which used to be everybody. But now that's not the case anymore, so that's now a question for those things that were. I would think so.
So those are sign offs, though. Those are the signing off that you understand the policy. That doesn't mean you have to do the remote training. The remote training is only those people, only the groups. Employees, including elected and appointed officials, and then members of the comp plan steering committee. So if you're in the B committee, you don't have to go through the in-person training.
Does that say that here?
It says that in the mandatory training. That's about who has to take these trainings.
Lipsy's taken over managing the training, so I'm not sure how that's getting sorted out.
Well, it's the table on page 17 at the bottom, code of ethics, that says training required by New York State, who must participate. So that's a little confusing. If not everybody on every committee is required by New York State to be
Right.
whatever, sign off. Although this is a training resolution. It's not, a
The policy.
policy resolution.
Let's see if they're leaving our board. It's
I'll send everything.
Oh, snow. First real snow.
Anyone who was appointed to fields of office and got all of those packets of things, but now since Blixie's kind of doing the training and not everybody takes the oath of office, we need to clarify.
So if you're on the B committee, you have an oath.
So
No,
No,
let's change.
in fact, there was an article in the Association of Towns thing about that. Who
They-
needs to take an oath?
Yeah.
And it was not people who are just volunteers.
Volunteers, yeah.
Yeah.
Not a,
Not appointed, you know.
well, we need clarity in this.
So. We can change the column of who must participate. We can change that to comply basically with what's in the text up here, and the text up here has been approved by Nate. So we can change that column to, under whom must participate, all staff, appointed and elected public officials. And anyone, Krista, I can give you this language, and anyone else required by resolution by the town board. So this gives us an out to say, if we discover in February that we need our B committee people to all read and sign off on our ethics policy, we can add them in by resolution. But this will include all elected and appointed public officials.
Okay,
So, and by the very nature of the preceding text, the comp plan steering committee members are already required to do that. So by resolution, we're including them. So that will give us the ability to appoint anybody else if we find out we need to. And we can do that for both the code of ethics and the workplace violence. I'm sorry, I have to look at the next page, for the next, all four
all four of those.
of those.
Just going back to the remote, the video training and stuff, are we, I know last year we did not take a video, I don't believe we did, of the civil rights or the ethics training. Are we going to this year so that because right now the further resolve just
We
says
did for
this-
the ethics committee. We can't do it for sexual harassment. Per New York State requirements for sexual harassment prevention, the training has to be interactive.
Okay,
so
That's what-
but
that-
even though, but here it says the remote includes sexual harassment training, meeting,
Well, we do have an
And/or-
online remote.
viewing the room, okay.
That is interactive because it's like a quiz. You have to take a quiz.
Yeah, no, I do that for work every year.
but we're accepting other people's training if they
Yes.
provide a certificate of completion.
Yes,
Yes,
for sexual harassment
Right,
prevention.
right.
Yep. And again, we're gonna go do specialized training for the planning board and BZA, so.
Yeah.
They're. you
That'll
can-
be done at their meetings.
That'll be, yeah, it's gonna be, so what this says is basically, they need to schedule it, if they don't wanna do ours, and that's fine, they have to schedule it, this needs to be done between March and the end of June. And so staff will help them do that, but that's, and if they choose not to, for whatever reason, they can go to a different board meeting,
and the comp plan members can just go to any
yeah.
one, we're not gonna have a specialized meeting for.
Right. Right. Yeah, we're not doing a specialized one because you can attend remotely.
Well, no, some of the members are on different committees.
They're on different committees, and so, Rebecca's on both comp plan and plan, we have a couple
Mo's
of
on
board
both.
members. They can attend whichever one makes more sense for them. So. They'll probably have 2 night sessions, 1 day session.
Okay.
So any other changes, thoughts, concerns we had? We changed the column, we changed where the parentheses are.
Page 18 under planning board, going to board training,
Uh-huh,
there's one typo. It says. Fifth line, go office,
I got that.
and then it says 4 hours a year as per town policy, that's New York State.
I'll add that.
And then, not for a change, but as a request on the. on page 17, the 7th paragraph, the further resolve. The town planner shall oversee New York State town law section, blah, blah, blah. So we went through all of 23 and most of those people didn't have any of their board training. So since we have, for this, our ethics and workplace violence, we've got the, we want those done by a certain point. They should be done, hope in the first quarter of the year, that 4 hours of required training for those two boards.
So, there's been a lot of pushback by one board in particular that they think that the training, the sexual harassment training, so the town's requiring should fulfill theirs.
They're 4 hours.
Yes,
Well,
The 4 hours of
New York
planning.
State, yes. And so I feel like, I don't know if I don't disagree with you. I would say maybe the first half of the year, I would be a better.
well, when we get new people, because some of them, are new and if they have, like the BZA is pretty strong. Those people have been there for a while and, they're, lawyers and whatever. It almost doesn't apply to them, but, when like the planning board's rotating through, some of the people they're learning from their fellow board members.
Yeah.
And some of this stuff can get pretty sticky.
Yeah, okay, hold on just one sec. Michelle, would you mind going grabbing Niels? I know he's here. He's gonna be here for later section. I think, yeah, no, you're not gonna get an argument from me. I think training's incredibly important. And I think that it's really essential that people who serve in the important legal roles for the town. Have the necessary training. I mean, and the whole point behind the New York State law of having the 4 hours training is so that you have a continuing education. I personally don't think taking sexual harassment prevention
Right.
is training for the planning board of BZA.
Yeah.
I would, I would just like, based on from what I've heard, I wouldn't be surprised though if that conversation emerges at the town board level in a more thorough way. So I'll bring Niels in and see if he has.
So I'm not asking you to change the verbiage. It was just more of a request as I was, sitting in some of the meetings that I realized.
So you just want to add a time frame for the
But it's
not
BCA
necessarily
or
at the
planning
time
board
frame, but
to
just-
complete the
law's
4
already there.
hours.
It's just to remind them.
But I think your point is good, that any new member of the board take a training early on. So that they're up to speed to some.
Yeah, so they have the idea that they're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be part of the
Onboarding or whatever it is, yeah.
acceptance of coming on the board. You agree to do the training within 3 months of coming on the board.
So I think that's a really good idea, and I think that it might make sense for us to adopt a policy about that and actually identify which training. So Neil, we're talking about training requirements for planning board and BZA. And I did let the board know that there has been some chatter or questions over whether or not taking sexual harassment prevention counts for the 4 hours. I shared that I don't think that it does, based on what the intention by New York State law is, or the New York State, legislature was when passing that requirement. But that's not what we're answering today. I think one of the things that came out of this conversation, which I think is really beneficial and useful, is actually requiring new members to the planning board of BZA to actually undertake some training for that board within a specified period. Does that make sense? Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
You could even argue that they should take it before they're appointed. So that they come into the first meeting having some training, if they can.
That would make sense too. There's nothing that I know of under your policies or resolutions that have any requirements for experience or training for these boards.
Right, we don't. So the lay board should have a training. What does the planning board do? Right, I mean, a basic map.
Or you could take the stance that any new members just an alternate
we have.
Until they take the training.
until they take the training.
Or any new board.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So my recommendation would be, I think this is a great idea. I know there are online trainings available that you've sent us and I've taken and Marissa has sent us. And so why don't we work together and come up with a draft policy and identify some training that could be that could be posted as, and then have some kind of training expectation.
New York has training.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we would wanna, in the policy, we wanna specify what the training is that we're requiring them to do.
Basics of the planning board, basics of the BZA, just.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have those, essentially, yeah. So we can bring that, we can work on that.
When I go to AOT, sometimes they have those booklets that, it's a little too much reading, but that. Has an idea what they are. I'll see if
Oh,
I can-
yeah.
If
That'd
they
be
still have those, maybe I can bring it.
Yeah, that would be good, yeah.
Okay,
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're coming up, Neil, let me check where we are in the section, because I feel like we're coming right, do you mind? You wanna grab, I don't know if you have any stuff you wanna grab,
Yeah, I'll grab it.
and then we'll be to your fees. Okay, so with those alterations, and Carissa, I'm gonna email you what I said, so you can just drop it in. What number resolution is it? Sorry, 30. 30. Okay. Those alterations, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay. 31 is mandatory review of all accidents involving town property. And 32 would appoint Chris again as our record management officer. And it further resolves that the town board shall be notified of freedom of information requests. We definitely talked about that last year, and Chris has been sending us those FOIL requests. Thank you very much. Any questions on those two resolutions? And then 30, I'm sorry, we can do 33 as well. Gifts from town to other parties. We don't give gifts, but we can hold recognition events, issue proclamations of appreciation. That's actually something I added. So that's new this year, is issue proclamations of appreciation. We already are doing them. There's no cost to doing it. And provide refreshments. So any questions on 31, 32, or 33? Nope. Okay,
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
And now we are moving into planning and zoning fees. I went to, so the town board for the last number of years, which I think is an excellent thing to do, as we briefly mentioned, has been moving in the direction of right sizing expenses with revenue estimates. And that has encouraged and I feel like we've continued to move in that track. I think it's worked very effectively. One thing that we are trying to do then is, in addition to, and we went through the budgeting process, we were looking at different salary positions to make sure that we're keeping pace appropriately. So those are costs. We need to look at our fees and penalties as well, and making sure that we are right sizing those with the broader market, that they're keeping pace with inflation. The town's history historically has been to not alter its fees for many, many years and then do a jump. And I don't think that that's fiscally prudent to do. And what we are philosophically, I will share that my perspective is that I want to make it easy and affordable for people to make the ongoing minor work necessary to maintain a property in Ulysses. But what we are seeing is a lot of increase in high-end construction. And high-end construction combined with changes in energy code and building code. Building code is getting only more complicated. Energy code is getting only more complicated, right? It requires more and more time. The effort that it takes someone to do a project, a staff member to oversee a project from a building or zoning side in 2024 is significantly more time than it would have been in 2000, just because of the changes of these industries and the type of construction we're seeing. And so we historically have looked to other municipalities in Tompkins County. We would do online research, we would find out what their fees are. But apparently, and it's no criticism to anyone who has preceded me, nobody, doesn't appear that anybody was actually having a conversation with like town supervisors about, well, when did you do your fee updates, right? So I actually had that conversation with town supervisors, and basically, it looks like historically we have been following fees that have not been updated by those municipalities in a long, long time as well. And it's like, oh, well, we keep meaning to look at those fees, but we've never actually, oh, we just, you keep meaning to and don't actually get to it. So we, internally and speaking to, the town attorney, undertook the recommendation that we should look to a broader places within New York State that are more similar in building and land uses than say, and I say this with love and appreciation for Danby, like they are not necessarily our comparison point anymore. It doesn't mean they weren't 20 years ago, but they're not in 2024. And so so Meals undertook research with Molly at my request to really start to right size our fees, and Meals is also coming from an environment that had a lot of land use controls as well. And it seemed like an ideal time to look at that, so that we are appropriately, but not we are appropriately passing on costs to particularly developers who are engaging in really high-end expensive building projects in our community that are tying up a lot of staff time. So I'm gonna tee you up for that, Niels, that if you don't like what you hear, then blame me and not him. So this wasn't my direction.
I just have a question on the resolve. Practices fiscal prudence by raising fees annually at a percentage to mirror inflation. The proposed 24 fees are way beyond the current inflation rate. And I don't think we want to tie ourselves to an annual. I don't think you want to tie yourselves to inflation.
I agree. Let's eliminate that right now. So just after annually, just delete. So, Neil, what did I not?
Say raising fees, or you just want to say?
Reviewing fees.
Reviewing and raising.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because we may not raise.
right.
Yeah, sure. Reviewing instead of raising. Cool. Niels, do you want to kind of walk us through where we're seeing some changes?
Sure, and I can maybe backtrack a little bit too, talking about since you brought up the CPI increases. The last two jurisdictions I worked for were kind of similar to the two listings where zoning, planning, land use fees haven't been updated in, quite a while. And like you guys are finding yourself now, it's like your fees are not in sync with current practice and costs of what it takes to do business. So there was a multi-year process of review and assessment and comparison. And eventually both of them, but did go to a CPI increase where on an annual basis, they just raised it a blanket, whatever the CPI was for that, preceding year. But then did an assessment every 5 or 10 years to see, what changes were made done. So long term, I would still suggest that, but as the fees here aren't necessarily market or in reference to the CPI, I would agree that striking that out for this time.
Niels, what's CPI?
Consumer price and the.
Inflation.
And there's a number of different CPIs out there. Which can be confusing, but thinking long term, maybe for 2025 forward, I would still.
Put in the annual. Right. So I have on this rezone, when you say rezone, is that somebody applying for rezoning of something?
Yes, so simply, and the town doesn't currently have anything in the books. It's my hope that with the comp plan update and future rezone amendments will bring it more up to date with what is standard practice, but say you have a request for a lot that's currently zoned AR and they want to do multifamily. It should sync both with the comp plan land use map, to support that the future land use map supports multifamily housing. So then it would just be a rezone. But if the comp plan land use map just is designated as single family residential with a low density, then that should really be a two-step process. They should amend the land use map and do a rezone currently.
But the rezone comes to the town board, right?
They both would.
So
sorry, go
the first thing was 275 plus costs. What costs were those? Of your time or
That'd be,
printing?
I'm presuming any legal costs.
Yes.
But we're only
Notices.
going at 350, so isn't 275 plus costs less? More than what 350 would be?
No, so you see the asterisk?
Yeah,
And the asterisk above the column says indicates fees that are subject to by local law charges associated with required specialized services, including but not limited to legal and engineering expenses. So already in our zoning law, we have the ability to require that, that any fees incurred, for instance, you have somebody who wants to do that rezoning, in no way, shape or form would have the town engaged in that rezoning outside of a zoning update. We would never have spent legal money on it. We would never have spent staff time on it. We would never have engaged in it, right? Without it being a request from the outside.
right.
So many years ago now, the board adopted the approach that we can pass on those costs to the applicant.
Right.
So this is instead of, I thought plus costs was, and I think Niels would probably agree with me, is confusing. If you just say plus cost, well, what cost?
Right.
I wanted to make sure in this document that we are making it very clear, it's gonna cost you your application fee of $350. And it could be $1,000, $2,000, $20,000 in engineering costs or insurance or in attorney costs. And what we will be doing early this year is working with the planning and zoning office and Michelle to develop a very clear procedure for when these projects are triggered. We make sure that we are adequately billing those applicants for the work necessary. And the model we'll be using is what we're just doing with Grassroots, right? Grassroots is asking for a water district. The town's not paying for that though. Like, it's appropriate for Grassroots to pay our staff attorney time and for the engineering time associated with it. So we passed and we had, signed a contract with Grassroots to that effect. So that's why that asterisk is in here. So every time you see that asterisk, those are additional.
So it would
Fees.
be, it's a little confusing because it sounds like you're not gonna bill for those costs. If you raise the fee to $350, say for that first rezoning up to 5 acres. But it sounds like what you're saying is
We'll bill
that
for all of that.
we'll bill for the additional costs. So maybe that should be $350 plus those. I mean,
Well, the asterisk is allowing it to be with costs.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
the asterisk replaces the plus costs.
Yes.
And I
didn't
think when you see on like our new fee structure, just 2024, it might be more clear. I think comparing the two might be confusing because we're seeing the plus costs, but not the asterisks and vice versa. But that the intent is that all the costs are included in that asterisk.
So we are, with this document, we are not changing anything by law. We're not already allowed to do. We are already allowed by law to bill the applicant for these services. So we're not changing anything legally here. What we're doing is trying to clean up the specification. I thought plus costs, how do you figure out what the plus costs are from last year? You would actually have to go into the zoning code.
Right.
To find out what those plus costs are. Because there was nothing on the fee schedule that actually explained what those costs are. So I'm proposing that for 2024, using the asterisks, with the asterisk being that this indicates what those costs could be, so that when someone looks at this, or looks at the fee schedule for 2024, which will look different than this, right? It won't have the 2023 column. That they understand that they're gonna have to pay a base price of $350 to submit their application, but that there will be other costs associated with it that they will be responsible for. That's the intention behind it. Yeah.
So I have a question on the development district. Is that, this says it's under rezone, but is that, excuse me. Relating back to the Moore's Marine. That wasn't rezoned, but it was quite a bit of work. Would that fall under some other area? Because I'm just thinking, I think Moore's Marine was trying to do something else. And the development district language was out of date. I think it predated you, but it was a lot of meetings.
Mhm.
Would that fall under the 5,000, you think? Because their development district didn't,
It already had a
They
development,
had a
Yeah,
development
but
district,
we
and
had-
But they
we had to-
were-
we had to modify the language of the development
because they
district.
had so many more boats than
Yeah.
what was in the
so
language.
would that be a
Would that-
$5,000 fee for them? Is that, I'm just trying to figure out where something like that.
Or
would
that'd be a
Specify
rezone.
Modification or creation or.
It sounds like, I'm not too familiar with the history of that one, but it sounds a lot like what Devon Van Nolan was trying to do with
Yeah.
these, right? So that's not, I wouldn't consider that a development district, I'd consider that a zoning code amendment, which is further down in here. And
Okay.
that's another thing that we don't have currently. That's why they're,
So this is more like if I came to you and they said, hey, I wanna
Create.
create a development district.
correct.
Okay,
Well, so right now, 275 plus cost is the current development district cost,
Correct.
which Nobles would have to pay, right?
But they are, this is a creation of a new development district.
This is from no district to a new district.
Right,
You're talking about, it would be
But
a
it's-
zoning code amendment change. Where is that located?
So this is if I wanted to take 16 acres and create something
Right.
that's not allowed by zoning and create a development district to allow certain things.
So that's on the second page under the green banner that says other planning zoning code amendments.
There.
Right.
So if you're modifying a development
Oh.
district,
so $100.
it would fall under this.
$500 if the
$500
town board
fine.
agrees to consider. I just don't want any of the things that are currently before in process get hit with something that they didn't expect.
Well, are projects that are currently under review grandfathered in
Right.
to
Yeah.
prior fees,
I want to make sure.
because it's
that's
not
clear.
new applications.
I want to make sure that's
Right.
clear, yeah,
So
Something
this
in
is any
process.
brand new
right,
applications that would come before any of the,
right,
well, before Neil's or
Right,
anything
yeah.
else.
Yeah. And the other twofold reasons, or the other reason is that we don't have discretion over responding to requests, right? If somebody wants to put a building permit in, we don't have discretion to say, well, we can't get to you this year. You'll have to come back and apply again. Same with planning and zoning. And so I want to make sure that our fees are appropriate to the extent that at some point, we might need to hire outside assistance to get some of these projects done. I'm not saying any of the projects that are currently on our plate, but for instance, cars facility, like there is part of that agreement, we are going to have, the town will be bringing in somebody at Cars expense to do the specialized inspections on that, because we can't reasonably handle it in-house.
right.
That may be the future also on bigger projects, none of which I know of to date. It's not that. But we need to make sure that we have the flexibility financially to make sure we can have that paid for, because we run into limitations on staff time. And yet we can't say no to projects, right? So,
Right. And when you research this development, how did you come up with 5,000 on the development district?
That is one of the fees that's comparable to local, I think Lansing has
That
that,
has that.
and maybe,
it's a lot of work,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of work.
it's a lot of different boards too.
right, a lot of board work.
And a lot of legal time, just a lot of energy has to go into that.
appreciate the updating. this.
Yeah,
So just to clarify, I'm having development district creation. Is that okay? Is that accurate? All right, creation
Or new development districts,
or under rezone.
you could just say new
New
development
development
district.
district.
instead of development district, say new development district?
Yes.
Or- Right, we're not having two lines, development and new development, it's new development,
No, just new development district.
okay.
I like how you broke up the site plan reviews by project size, because that definitely a single family home or a greenhouse or whatever might be very different than
Wow.
multifamily, so I think that's
And that's also.
more
something-
appropriate, and I've seen, that's usually what I deal with.
And I believe that's also at least one local jurisdiction's done it the same.
Yeah.
And so the intent is that and grant, the majority of the projects that come in are for single residential.
Mhm.
So that cost is hopefully to stay nominal. It's for the more complex, expensive projects that would tier that application, yeah.
Right, so for a single family home, there is gonna be an increased fee from the. What we used to have at 220 was kind of the high plus costs, you might be more in the 400 to 500 range, depending on the size of the home you're building.
And,
But that is still not unreasonable for a site plan review for a house,
and
I don't think.
just for clarification, not all single residential dwelling units are require planning board review. It's only
Oh, true.
those, most of that is gonna be within the lakeshore zone. Or in conservation zone if it's in a steep slope overlay or a unique natural area. So most of the ag zone, for example, isn't gonna require planning board review.
Okay. What is SWIP review 3?
Stormwater. And the reason why I don't have those fees is I believe, and I'll defer to Michelle on this, I think the county said that they'd get us updated fees mid-January.
Yeah, what's the 3 though?
Honestly, I don't know. It's just always been there.
I think I asked this question last year too.
Did you? I'm sorry, I don't remember that one.
Cause yeah, SWIP review, 100% we need a review. But I didn't know if the 3 was, what does that mean? Like, we're not review, we are should be the first to review the SWIP and then depending on this disturbance, it goes to DEC. But. We're not,
So Neil, would you mind looking into that? Because I think that sounds like this is gonna be coming, my understanding, this will be coming back to the board. We can alter fees at any point. So this one's gonna be coming back to the board. And so maybe we can get that clarification on whether that 3 is necessary at that point.
Okay.
Once the county comes out with their new fees.
So I see you have a fireworks display fee. I really want us to take up fireworks this year.
I know, but I already talked to legal about that.
And
And fireworks are governed under New York state law, and we basically have been told that we have to, the permitting process is because of the state, their state allowable uses. We, to my understanding from Nate, is that we do not have the ability to restrict them.
that's really odd.
The state has not granted local government the ability to restrict. They're managing them at the state level.
What about,
Noise,
no, yeah,
you could
we have noise.
restrict them by
ordinance.
noise, right?
Yeah, we have noise.
You
ordinance.
cannot, local governments cannot override legal uses permitted by the state.
Huh.
So. I'm
does the
happy
state
to,
set the fees?
Local government.
no, I think the local government sets the fees on that. If you want me to get a statement from Nate on fireworks, I'm happy to have a written statement if that's useful.
And what happened to municipal home rule?
The state overrides things all the time.
Mhm.
It's unfunded mandates are driving taxes in New York, so.
And that's Nate's analysis
Yeah.
on fireworks?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm happy to get a paragraph from him, so for distribution. if that's
Yeah, I would
useful.
just like, because people talk to me all the time about it.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay.
Are there any other fees, Neil, that you wanted to bring our attention to?
Well, I mean, if there's any questions. I think one of the things is, just as a. Point out, and yeah, it's. Reflected in, at least Lansing. On a local level is. On a statewide requirement, planning boards are required to do at least 2 levels of review for site plans and subdivisions. And sometimes if it's a major subdivision, if it's 3 blocks, they have to go through a 3-step process. And currently, there's seemingly like a lot of pro bono work that the town does for these. We don't charge anything for sketch plat review or preliminary reviews. We just charge for a final review. And other jurisdictions charge for preliminary review and final review. And so that's one thing that I'm suggesting we do as well.
Sounds good.
We don't, it's not that we're trying to slow people down doing projects, but we want to try and reflect the real cost of doing these projects. There are real staff implications for it.
Yeah, that's typically. When you first file like a preliminary sketch plan or anything, that's not atypical that you have a fee associated with that and then another fee once you get to the final site plan. So,
Are these fees, revised fees reflected in the budget that we prepared for 2024, or
No,
we can expect?
we can
additional-
expect we can expect the 2025 budget to be much closer of a reflection of revenue based on how 2024 goes. But from a timing standpoint, and it wasn't possible to have that research really.
Right.
done For the 2024 budget, so the 2024 budget is much more of a reflection on revenue captured in 2022, really, 2022 and probably 2023. And then so estimates, I think, for 2025.
Should be
Should be more,
higher, yeah.
should be more reflective, yeah, exactly. We felt it was better, like, as always, to be more conservative on revenue estimations and then see how it plays out. We also don't know what's gonna happen in the building cycle here. I mean, do you have a sense of, are you seeing more demand or decline in demand? I know that 2023 was a booming year for projects.
Yes. I requested Molly to do an assessment so that Mark and I can do a 2023 overall review for the town board to see how much more work was done previous year. So we'll try to get that done for your last meeting in January, probably, just as a overview. But yeah, there's a lot more work that happened for both construction and for planning board and BZA. And I would only imagine that that's going to continue, and it's going to be a hard pill to swallow, I think, for the town, but there's going to be a lot of increased pressure for development in the next planning cycle. 10-20 years, it's development is going to
Yeah,
keep
keep
pressure on
going.
this super up.
Which is gonna feed into our comp plan and how we're gonna do that. And I also think it should feed into, not at this juncture, we didn't think in the 2024 budget, we didn't change it. But Niels and I have had conversations about increasing the stipends for planning and BZA, because the work, and again, in the same way that it's more time and effort for a planning, a zoning officer and a building code enforcement officer, it's more time and expertise necessary. And you and I have had that conversation about compensation too, so I think we need to, knowing what our revenue stream is, I think should really be helpful in understanding about starting to right size.
You know, I had a question, the BZA postponed their meeting. Wasn't there stuff that had to be done for the farm guy?
Say that again.
The BZA postponed the January meeting.
Yes.
There was nothing on the docket?
There was, there's 2 projects that are requiring subdivision approvals from the planning board. And the way some of the requests, variance requests trigger secret. So the planning board is put a notice to act as lead agency.
Right.
And so the BZA said, sure, go for it. So the next planning board meeting, they should make a decision on seeker, and they may issue a decision on the actual subdivision. So because of that, the BZA can't make their decision
Until the planning board goes, right?
and we'll just kind of see what the planning board.
But is that holding up the Nobles thing?
No,
do
Okay,
they need to go in front of the BZA? Okay.
right. Okay,
Okay,
all right.
any other questions that we'd be
I
doing?
mean, if something comes up and we missed it, we can. correct.
Absolutely. At any point, we can go back and be like, this is not working, or we missed it and we need to add it, so.
I have a question. The last one under seeker review is blank legal engineering and other professional fees. That's just as billed.
I'm sorry, which one is that?
page 21.
I think
Oh.
that's the same as the Astros.
Yes, it is essentially. That's how historically this has been codified in the document. So we could probably just strike that. And it wouldn't have any bearing, it's essentially a duplication.
Cause we have the asterisks on a couple of these.
Well, I mean, so we can either put that on the applications, which we already have planned for the 24 updates. The idea was to be clear, like if people are only looking, if the public is only looking at this, to be clear that somewhere in this document, it says legal engineering professional fees are included. So as long as that, it doesn't have to be in this location, but as.
I
long
agree,
as
it
it's
should be somewhere.
Somewhere.
It is with the asterisk. Do you think the asterisk covers it sufficiently, or do you think this language is better?
The asterisks on the first page, maybe.
It's above the chart.
Yeah,
I would
I-
leave
I
it.
would
I would
leave it
leave
in.
it in.
Let's leave it in. Okay, let's
I would
leave it in.
leave it in. Because people can say, who knows what an asterisk is
Yeah.
taking me.
So I think that this is where it becomes really important that on our updated forms, application forms, it's incredibly transparent. That
Yeah.
if you're doing this,
yeah.
then you're responsible for doing this.
Yeah.
And we will be bringing, most likely when we adopt a policy about how, a procedure about how we're doing the costs associated with it. We're gonna bring probably a boilerplate contract that we can get approved.
Right.
And then so names can be dropped in there. And then come back for approval, but then you're not reviewing, detailed contracts every time, you're just reviewing the specifications of the project. So
Yeah.
similar to grassroots. I think we'll be using our escrow account a lot more. I want to capture that money,
Yeah,
make sure that we're not giving it for essentially for free on the general taxpayer power.
all right, so I move this.
So I think we're done with you with building and zoning code, all that good stuff. Is there anything, does these have other fees in it too, Krista? Is there anything you wanted to talk about in your fees? I know a lot of them are set by New York State, we have some flexibility. We have EMS. So you'll be seeing EMS numbers coming back again mid-year because the village is gonna update theirs. And so we're moving to a biannual in the sense that it means twice a year. Schedule of updating EMS. fees.
Michelle, do you know how much we collected last year? From the insurance, the billing
EMS.
people?
I can give you through November.
Yeah, what's the November?
Give me a second.
Well, she's looking that up, are there,
So are we gonna require escrow for all these fees, build the zoning and site plan reviews?
I think we're, so
Or
that's.
is there like a
I
minimum?
think that's what we're gonna
like
talk about, is
$1,000
there a
or
threshold of
something.
when
Yeah.
if we need it. Because, something like grassroots, we're looking at like $10+
Yeah.
thousand dollars, it
Yeah.
makes sense for us to hold the money. If it's under a certain threshold, though, I think that we'll have a way to withhold the final certificate of occupancy.
yeah.
If the bills haven't been paid, something
Yeah.
like that. But we have not, I wanted to bring you the new fee approach. And then if it makes sense to the board, then we can proceed with coming up with actual procedures to do it. I just want to make sure, it's really easy for this stuff just to slip through the cracks. And the money not to be captured, and I want to make it as smooth as possible.
I
capturing
mean,
it.
when a building permit is issued, the check should come with before the permit is issued.
Yeah,
Right, so for a building permit, I think it's probably gonna be really simple.
Yeah,
It's more of, that some of these projects take 12 months,
Right.
years, big projects take
Yeah.
years.
yeah.
And so making sure for those projects that we like, I mean, honestly, it was the car situation where I really thought, oh my God, we are spending a lot of money
right,
and we're not getting any of it back.
right.
And it's not that I don't want them to be successful, but we also we can't
Yeah.
subsidize
Right.
at that high.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work and it's a lot of expense, and we had some expensive engineering meetings and things like that, so. Anyway, we don't want to repeat that.
Right,
And so I think I think the board will definitely have multiple conversations on it before it gets adopted,
Okay,
procedures.
I move this. Second,
I'll second it.
Any further questions, comments?
The question for Scott,
Mhm.
page 23. Backflow cross connection.
Yeah.
Do we have a backflow program? Because those are supposed to be certified every year. I don't know if we have anybody keeps it a log of the.
Yeah, but I don't know, that I know it's supposed to be at least checked, I think we have one or two on the system, right?
Oh, that's all.
I think so. And I'm not certified to do any of that, so it has to be probably both, or you have to hire them to do it.
Yeah, so when we do the permits, though, things like, like the gas station and
Yeah, that's all, it's on there. You know, like if you needed one, but I always send that to Bowles Point so that they can do it. To see if it needs one,
Okay,
you know what I mean? Cause I can't, I didn't take any of the training for that.
yeah.
So, I will ask Bowles Point if they can look into that.
Yeah, or if we need to review any of
Yeah.
the, you know, like the ones that Lucas was inspecting, because often those were commercial properties.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we need to review them and say, hey, you know,
I did see that somewhere, you were right, so I don't.
like, if, you know, backflow go in when the place was built or what have you.
Yep. I'll look into that, yeah.
So one thing that's not in here, but will be coming, and it's gonna happen after the meter reading in February, is that we still have a handful of properties who have not allowed the highway DPW to access their water meters to replace them with the remote radio head ones. And the cost of, like, by town law, we have the right to force that change. But it would involve courts. And
How many people are there?
I don't know, how many are you down to? 20,
We're probably down to under 10.
under 10 now?
And
Good.
they just refuse them?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have at least one
Just haven't
flat out
heard.
refusal.
One of them definitely, but the other ones we just haven't heard anything from them. And we've definitely tried to make contact for a year now, so.
So what are our options?
So we're gonna do exactly what NICEAG done. So, and I've talked to the town attorney about this. This is what his recommendation is the most appropriate way to do it is to determine a fee that will be applied only to properties that do not allow us to replace it with the radio head. It's like recognizing that we don't. This is the most affordable option. And so the way that fee is calculated is basically the cost of the town to not have the radio head meter there, like the cost to actually do a physical reading and go through the process. And you calculate how much time it takes for the physical reading and the importing of the data and all of the whole process of additional costs. And then you divide that time and apply to whatever salaries are involved, including the water clerk's time to do the additional work. And then you divide that by the number of households that have not complied, and that's how you do a determination of fee. So we will be coming, so Scott's they're gonna do a time record, basically, at the February read of how much time it takes to do it. And come back to the board with a reasonable, I think it's $14 a read for an ISEG. I would imagine we're gonna be in the,
NICEAG has a flat fee.
right, it'll be a flat fee for them.
You guys seen any of those letters?
Yeah. $13, I think, a month.
Like it was more than that.
I thought it was more than that too.
I don't know how much, we have a remote one, so.
Can we send another letter to these people?
I'll send them.
There's been a lot of outreach
Yeah, yeah.
over the last year. I mean, I think we can absolutely do a final reach to the last 10 or, but I mean, at some point, and that's why we'll do it. Maybe we can do a final one on the water bill and it can take effect. I'd like it to take effect by June.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a notice in the November billing saying,
That they be doing.
there will be a fee.
Oh, they did, okay.
associated with-
All right, fine.
Yeah,
And we have gotten quite a few calls since then.
Yeah.
Because we were at over 20 the last time that the Scott and I spoke, and then that went out. So it sounds like we've cut it in half, and maybe we can cut it in half further.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it does take staff more time, and so the legal determination is it's completely legal and reasonable to apply a
Mhm.
reasonable fee.
All right.
Bolton Point does a fee too, so
Do they?
when you're talking to them about the backflow question, you can always ask them too, what their fee is.
Alright,
I think their charge is a lot higher than $14 a month.
yeah, sure.
14 isn't enough.
Alright,
Oh, I don't think it's gonna be 14 for us necessarily, but it could be 20, 25. I don't know. We won't know until we figure out the time and mileage and the gas. So it all gets factored into the equation. So, okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And so that will bring it to a vote for resolution 34 with the changes we discussed. All those in favor?
All right.
Excellent, I as well. Committees, appointed by the town board. We do have a couple alterations,
Question.
for CSAC and missing. Sorry, I was gonna find.
Chris.
Kate Darfler and Chris Collins.
That's right. So CTEC, those two need to be added. Yeah,
B committee, there's a couple that need to be.
I saw your email about
Yeah.
that. That's on page 28. So and can you remind me? who the-
Chula Wally and Allison James.
Okay.
Are you sure that's enough people?
On the B committee, the whole town.
Isn't that wonderful though?
Yeah.
I think that's great. Any other questions or alterations on this set? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve. Resolution 35.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
under comprehensive plan update committee, did you want to specify that Ann Head is the chair?
Oh, she is, it's. Oh.
Where is she?
We,
Oh,
she's on
she
the bottom.
got-
first.
She's on the other page.
The chart ate the title, sorry, she should be on that page.
Fran
So she's on
Ted-
the bottom of 28.
She should be on the top of 29.
Right,
Yep, she should be on the top of 29, so sorry about that, that was. just
and
a-
she is the chair.
And she is the chair, we can,
Right.
yeah. We can identify her as chair, that's great.
And the vacancy is it ag committee? or-
No, it's
No, it's
Lakeshore
the
Zone.
Lakeshore resident.
It's Lakeshore Zone, in my original draft, I had screwed that up, and then mid-year, the town board changed that to identify it as a Lakeshore Zone.
So if anybody has any contacts,
We actually have a possible candidate,
perfect.
so,
And we have a meeting next Thursday. We just wanted to make sure that everybody remembers that that's through project completion. And so there could be an update, but I don't anticipate it based off of our discussions with folks so far. Since this is gonna be the year, we're really gonna
yeah,
hit the ground running.
okay.
Safety and emergency committee. I think we're gonna add Lixie.
Oh, I added them in the other location, so we can add them here too, so I did correct the chart in the other location.
Okay.
So for the safety committee, also adding, Dave's already on there, it's just Lixie. As well. So it is corrected in the other space.
See, I was right. We are on this.
Go forth and safety, right? Okay, any other changes? Okay,
Hopefully I get ag committee people.
exactly. Okay, accept a motion to approve resolution 35. As amended. Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay,
So this access to attorney services,
this is the same, it's been for several years.
right, but I mean, I really wonder whether town board members should have direct contact with it. And I don't know.
So you have access, so you're saying you don't want to have access, or
I'm saying it could be misused.
it could, I
It
mean,
hasn't.
it hasn't been, and, I
You get
think-
you get a rogue town
you
board.
get a road, well, you get a road town, you get a road town supervisor. I mean, the attorney is not Caitlin Olson's attorney, it's a town attorney, so you might have legitimate concerns about someone in this position, you might have legitimate concerns about me. So you should, I think you should have the right to access.
We
to
could
your
have
attorney.
some access, but every event,
Well, it says under 2 hours.
right, but that could be multiple times. There should be kind of a limit,
2 hours per year.
some kind of limit that a board member can't keep going back to the well for his own personal discussion with the attorney on some obscure issue.
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue for
I don't
us.
think it's
I
a,
don't think it's an
Right.
issue for us either.
I mean, my personal view of it is, like, if I feel like I need to talk to them. then run through
I would hope
Kate.
you would feel like you could talk to me.
Yeah,
if you ever
well,
felt
yeah.
like-
Right,
exactly.
we do.
Hey, Kate, we've
Do.
got
I've
this
never
thing,
yeah,
had
you
a
know.
private call with him.
And to me, that's just
Yeah, all
proper
right,
etiquette, you know,
Yeah.
to do something like that.
all right, I'm just bringing it up. Okay,
then access to engineering services. I don't know if any, yeah, doesn't seem to be, it's had a problem with that. And then, direct service contract. This gives me authorization to sign, and these are all things related to, you know, these are all very specific.
Yeah.
Budgeted. items?
Budgeted items, yeah, so we have bills for, you know, this is a.
Yeah.
On 31, you have the attorney broken out,
I'm sorry, on 30,
31.
yeah,
But the engineering's not broken out.
MRB.
Yeah, because they should have the same schedule, or same type of schedule. For lead engineer, junior.
Oh, I see. what you-
Oh.
we have that, Michelle,
Craftsperson.
I don't know if you've gotten a letter from them about 2024 rates or not. I haven't seen it.
so let's
Okay.
add that to the list to see to get their 2024 rates, and then I can bring them back to the board. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For notification, yeah. To note, to the,
For next week.
yeah, if we can, yeah, that'd be great.
Because the schedules are usually on their invoices. You know,
Yeah.
Who they have working on whatever they're doing.
Should the service contract for the aerator be in here?
That's a great question. Is it not? I thought I saw it, but it's not.
I mean, it might be, I don't see it, but. Unless it's not like paid, then it's up there.
Like a 7-year contract.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be signing a new one this year, right? It's a multi-year, we're on a multi-year contract with,
Oh, is that what this is? So,
these would be,
I mean, I think it would make sense to have it in there.
why don't we,
Yeah, it's charge points in there for multi-year. And for the charge point one, is that 3,000 for 3 years, or is that 3,000 a year? For 3 years.
That one was paid ahead of time. It's, we paid it up front,
So 3,000 for 3
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
or it's,
So
yeah, I think so.
yeah,
Wow.
Better,
I don't know, it might be.
it should be.
It should be 3,000 a year.
Yeah. No, I would say for the 3
3
years,
years? It's not, the
It's
charge
not
point.
per
it's
year?
not. It's 3,000 per year.
3,300 a year.
Yeah, I mean, and
That's the warranty,
it's everything.
everything.
It's everything, and so, I mean, this is not the meeting, but
Okay.
this is like, no, but I can tell you that I'm counting, like. It does not, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense for the town to own the electrical, like, I think it was great that we got one, but I think the lesson learned that other municipalities are also learning. Is that the equipment changes. And it updates and the needs change, and owning the equipment is coming at a drain to the municipality as opposed to like an asset that's paying for
I
itself.
know this spends a lot of time dealing
Yes.
with service calls.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so there are other options out there that I think we should look at for 2025, which include like. You can have a service basically provide one, and then you make a 10% revenue off of it, but you don't have any maintenance responsibility.
That sounds good.
They're. Yeah, so,
And you know, I'm not sure we could even collect $3,300 in charges.
Right.
From the thing, you know,
Well,
it's
how
like
much
there's
did we
not
collect-
enough
how-
electricity
How
flowing
much did we
through
collect last year?
at,
in
10
charges?
cents a kilowatt or whatever
what
it
it
is. I don't know what.
I don't know what.
Michelle, do you know offhand how much we collected last year in revenue for that?
I can answer that question through November.
Yeah,
To answer the last financial question, we have collected just under 85,000 through November for ambulance charges.
okay.
Like 85,000 in electric vehicle charge.
Elon Musk will be happy with it.
Yeah,
we're
we're keeping it.
Fleet of those charging stations. No. And it's gonna take.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay, so we wanna add, I'm sorry, what are we adding to this? we're doing we'll add the aerator to the list. And we're
Why
gonna
is
put it,
like the planning board NA for the next bit? Shouldn't that be some number?
Contract not to exceed amount for 2024.
No, on the planning board. on
Planning
page
that was the
board,
30.
NA,
yeah, it's not a contract. So
Oh,
it's a
I see.
budget, so I can tell you that, and I think Carissa had a really good idea. She would like she recommended that we strike the column contract not to exceed amount for 2024. Because there is some confusion between contract amount, like the first column is contract amount approved for 2024 budget, and then contract not to exceed amount for 2024, which seem like they're very similar and can be confusing. That recommendation, I think it was a very good recommendation, but it came at a point in my preparation of getting the packet out that I am really reluctant to delete a long column of numbers without having vetted and had a conversation with Michelle and Carissa, because we work together on doing this. So in the 2020, I would do not be surprised if this column no longer exists, the middle column does no longer exist in 2025, because it does seem to be like a duplication that doesn't provide any more clarity. But I want to have a conversation before I start deleting entire columns of numbers, so. And there may be value in keeping it, I don't know at this point, but it is a lot of duplication. So, but we will have that conversation. But there's no contract amount for the planning board, so therefore there's nothing there. And then the community organization funding, this is all what was approved in the 2024 budget as part of our process. Distribution. Did anybody have any questions about that? I don't think that.
Just for the Jacksonville Park, theirs comes with some.
There's just comes with strings attached.
Yeah.
Yeah. Per our MOU, yep. And we have been following that, Michael.
Well, since Nancy's the chair, she will remember, because Pete was the chair, he wasn't involved in the discussion here,
Right.
so.
Right.
Probably didn't remember.
So we haven't been in compliance with that. Distribution of organizational minutes, the standard, will go on the website and be distributed. The next, so
Still don't have a town historian?
I haven't honestly advertised for one again.
Okay.
Michelle put me in contact with somebody. The fall was a little bit busy and I didn't while I'm following up. So that's on my task list in January, is to see if we can see if we can encourage participation. But these are all appointments not subject to town board approval. Michael, are you, I believe you're headed to AOT, is that correct? So we'll pop you in on resolution 41. And then also resolution 40. Oh, that's 42. There's 2 41s. Sorry about that. Also an authorization to delegate for a delegate to vote at the AOT meeting. So that would bring us to passing resolutions. 35. Actually, did we already do
Wait a
35?
minute,
Krista?
this is a duplicate. What's different in the first 41 as to the second 41?
One's going and one's voting.
One's.
No, they
and then
both voted.
The second one allows me to vote. On our.
They both.
Oh, actually,
They
the-
both.
Actually, they are.
Resolved, it does say the
Yeah.
same
Does.
thing.
It's all
the
the same
same
thing, so
thing.
we can just remove the second 41.
Yeah.
So, Carissa, would you mind using the authorization for a delegate to vote as the title? Yeah, I think that's a better title.
But do we need another resolution appointing him as a delegate before we do the delegate to vote?
No,
Was that the intent of the? two
that's the intent of
resolutions?
both of them. It was just a title change.
Okay,
The intent of both of them the same.
right.
So, I think that gives us 36. Through resolution. Krista, did we already approve resolution 25, which is the,
Yes.
okay, I thought so, thank you. So a motion to approve resolutions 36 through 41.
So moved.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Thank you. We have one item of new business. Scott, thank you for sticking around for the whole meeting. I think it's really helpful. It's really helpful to have you here. The item of new business is an appointment of an NEO. I have a resolution here. There needs to be a modification in addition to this that includes his period of probation. It's from 1 year, right?
It's for 1 year.
For 1 year. So this resolution would appoint William Conroy at a probationary rate of pay of $20.25 per hour per year.
Very good.
You might not be with us long.
Right,
For a year.
that's a deal. I don't want that job though. Per hour per year,
Per hour.
per
Per
hour,
hour.
yes, per hour. Retroactive to January 2nd, 2024. And be it further resolved that William Conroy is on probation for 1 year from date of hire.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Is this? the
Don't we
same
know,
Bill
don't
Conroy?
we know Bill
It's the same
Conroy?
You do.
one, yeah.
You're kidding. You okay with that? I don't know.
Well, we don't get to
We don't
hire.
get-
We don't have, so
We get the vote.
So I think that there anything that we want to say about any specific person, we need to go into executive session.
I think we do.
Okay. So. I'll accept a motion to go into executive session to talk about the appointment of a specific person.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are back, the board,
To come out of executive session.
Second.
all those in favor?
We-
Aye. We didn't do it on the recording.
Oh.
The board was in executive session, we took no action. And we're back again, sorry for that with the technical, we didn't do anything other than look confused at the screen. So we're back to a resolution, that appoints, William Conroy at a probationary rate of pay of $25.25 per hour. Retroactive to January 2nd, 2024, and further resolved, that, he is, on probation, for 1 year post, I already said it before, but post is the date of appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that brings us full circle back to privilege of the floor. And we have upcoming events, just our regular meetings. We have one member of the public online. If there's anything you wish to say, please let me know. Please let us know. Okay, I believe he's a member of the press, so thank you very much for attending our organizational meeting. We appreciate local news coverage. And with that, I will.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Record that.
Yeah.
You were absent. You needed.
And we all waited
We had
too.
that.